it says here that 2017 was an interesting year. And as it comes crashing to a halt, join us as we recap what we learned and maybe didn't learn this year. I'm back.
She's back. Welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I am Prof Sales.
And I'm not. I'm just Ask Kaaren. It says it right there.
It says it right there. So we are glad that you are here. It is December 29th. It is the end of the year, almost the end of the year. And we are going to be talking about that. So if you are new to this channel, then welcome. And we want to tell you that we're glad you're here. There's a live chat going on right now. You can always join in on that on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And if not, you can always post a question or comment after the video post. Let me move this mic a little closer.
I'm making you nervous?
Nope.
I have a hot beverage.
Just had to move the mic there. She's got a hot beverage. She's got some tea. I've got some tea. We're both still trying to get rid of whatever this stuff is. So.
It's cooties. And here we are. Hey, Hank, Adam, yo.
So we had actually planned to do this show for a while. Did we plan to do this show on the 1st or today? I can't remember.
This one was supposed to happen on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. We're 2 days behind. Sorry.
But my hair looks fabulous. No, we both feel like crap, but we're going to give it a go. And we're going to let some people trickle in. We can say hi. We don't usually say hi.
Yeah, this channel, by the way, if it's your first time here, this is about reselling, being an entrepreneur, e-commerce, having a positive mindset, and being part of a cool, positive community. Oh, you've got mints. Nice.
And sharing cough drops.
Ricola. Ricola. Nice. That was pretty good.
Now, you said you wanted me to come back. You just didn't know I'd be ornery as all get out to be here.
Yeah, well, you know, I did know that. That's your normal mode. So, but yeah, so we wanted to talk to you guys today about 2017. Why do we always wait till the end of the year to reflect on and think about the next year?
We shouldn't. It's just like tradition, right? It's just something we've just always done, so we continue to do it. You know, a lot of the new things that are out there, just, you know, and we've said it before, why wait until January 1st? If you have something to start it now. Just do it.
Yeah.
Why make that day a magic day? Although I'm doing it myself because I have no choice. I'm like sick. So my reboot is just going to happen to occur on January 1st, because that's when I anticipate whatever this malady is, it will be long gone, or at least gone long enough that I can start being productive again.
Yeah, and thank you, Red Neckerson, for the super chat. Great friend of the show, and we really appreciate it.
177, yo.
Sorry, my voice is a little rough today, guys, so I'm going to do my best. I apologize in advance. But
we have a list, and we've checked it.
We have a list. We actually do prepare. So we have 17 things on this list.
We do. Hence 2017, the year of. So we thought 17 would be clever.
Do you guys make lists like this? Do you make a list of like, hey, what did I learn? What am I going to learn? What did I do? What am I going to do? I don't know. Maybe we're the only ones who do that.
Maybe.
But we felt like 17 was this is going to get harder and harder every year. We're going to have 18 next year, 19.
Yeah, well, and on Monday, we're going to talk about 18 things for 2018, aren't we?
Yeah, and some of these are going to be very similar, but we're going to tell you about 17 things that we learned this year that...
Here, hold up 5 and 2. 5, 10, 15, 17.
Math. So hopefully you guys can get something out of these, and we'll share with you what we learned. But I just realized we kind of match here too. We're both.
Oh, we do. We're like I don't know, like Mission Impossible. Dun, 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 dun.
Number 1. There are riches in the niches. And we're not going to get into how to pronounce that word. We've spent a lot of this year selling jeans and shoes. And I think no matter what niche you pick, I think that's always the best way to go. I think you should absolutely pick a niche to sell in and go after that one, maybe even 2 or 3. And we've talked about reasons to do that and what they should be based on. But I think it's a lot better approach for most people to reselling than going wide.
Right. And we started out this year fairly entrenched in jeans only, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this wonderful vision of Tino came along, and we introduced shoes, not only, into the community, but into our own repertoire as well. So definitely you have to start somewhere and then bring in other things. And shoes was a great fit, and we're still shoeing.
Shoes are a great fit. I see what you did there.
I got my sense of humor. That's how you know I'm getting better. Well, it's funny to me. Might not be funny to other people.
Do you want me to do each one, or do you want to do
No.
some? Oh, okay. Well, fine.
I'll do. Well, you can do 2 because I want to do 3.
Okay, so number 2, we are plowing through these. There is strength in diversity of revenue. Ah, see, I got you there. You thought I was going to say something else, or I was just going to stop.
He came up with that all by himself.
I did. We tried to be clever with each of these, and we probably didn't succeed, but hey, here we are.
E for effort.
There's strength and diversity of revenue. Why do I say that? Because the platform or the way in which you're selling or what you're doing could go south. For most people, even if they only had, imagine this, imagine you worked a job and for whatever reason your pay got cut 20%. Your life would change drastically. Most people's lives would change drastically if they lost 20% of their income. All of a sudden, really tough choices would have to be made about things. And reselling is no different. If your one particular way of selling or what you sold on was cut out, or you lost it or dropped dramatically or became not as profitable, it would affect you really negatively. So there's strength in having a diversity of revenue sources, because then if any one fails, it's not the end of the world.
Agreed. Number 3, sticks and stones may break my bones, but engagement is engagement. What do I mean by that, Prof?
What do you mean?
So, so in this journey of ours, in particular, the public one on the social medias, turns out a lot of people have a lot of things to say. And like noses, people have opinions. Everybody's got one, right? And so we've learned to just roll with it, and have some grace for those who would rather be negative. Because, they're out there. You've all met them. Someone that would rather expend their energy on saying something not nice instead of something uplifting and positive. And we learned to just sort of roll with that. This is a list of things we've learned from. And that has to be something, especially, we've been talking with some people recently about wanting to start YouTube channels, or, bumping up their Instagram or their social media game. And it came up on your show, one of the ones that I missed for sickness, but somebody was talking about how they want to do it, but they're shy, and they're really worried about having a thick enough skin to do this. And I think you said, your words were pretty much, if you don't have a thick enough skin. But I would say that that's part of it. But honestly, take all of that with a grain of salt, that if somebody is that unhappy with them, that they have to say something not nice to you, turns out they're probably pretty unhappy with themselves. So thumbs up, thumbs down. We love the thumbs up. We love the positivity. But at the end of the day, joke's on you. If you took the time to give a thumbs down to anything or anyone, it's still engagement. So.
Yeah. And when you were saying just roll with it, I was hearing that Steve Winwood song in my head, just roll with it, baby,
How does it go?
I can't sing. I can't sing normally.
I'm singing Soul Man, do.
But I just thought we should do a whole show on, some topic or set of topics and points, but all the points should be like song lyrics or song titles. We could do that.
Maybe we should do that on 2018's goals. You know what? That's what we'll do. 2018, our goals will be all song lyrics or titles.
Oh, man, you just committed us to that.
No challenge there, right?
It's going to be hard.
All right. So, and I didn't even see if anybody's had anything to say about any of that nonsense, but it's like that whole thing, like it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. It takes more effort to just come in and crap all over somebody's sunshiny day, right? Just try being positive. Try being supportive. I'm kind of back and forth with this widow drama in this super secret Facebook group I'm part of, where there's this debate going on about whose grief is greater. And at the end of the day, grief is grief. It sucks for everybody, no matter what. Not one is better or worse than another.
Right.
So just be positive. Let's just leave number 3 at that. Number 4, I'll do this one too. Meetups matter. We learned that. Meetups are the bomb, the best thing I think we did this year. They were awesome. We met some pretty amazing people.
I agree. And, you know, meeting people online is cool as well, and cool in a different way, and allows us to connect to people we would never meet normally. But it was really nice to get to see people in person, pick their brain for their business models and what they sell in, see them at work in a store and how they go through it and what they thought about. Like, I learned a bunch of things about different niches and so on that I would never know anything about. But now I'm armed. I can have some knowledge about those. But more than that, it's like we met people who became friends of ours, acquaintances outside of just the meetup part, somebody you can reach out to and connect to. And I think there's not really an easy way to put a value on that.
No, that we learned that putting yourself out there physically is a good thing, and being there in the moment and meeting those wonderful people. And we're planning meetups again. I mean, that's going to be, I think that's the saving grace sometimes for me, was being able to plan and look forward to those meetups. I so love them.
Yeah.
And yes, Hank, I caught the seagulls comment. You are absolutely right. Seagulls, no room for seagulls. Get rid of them.
Number 5. We are flying through these.
We are. Do it.
It's gonna be a short show.
Short show.
Number 5. Not all groups are created equal.
Uh-huh.
Now that sounds bad to say. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about reseller groups. I think I'm gonna do a whole video about how to pick a reseller group to join or not.
Or any group for that matter, honestly. Don't just limit it to reselling.
You know, there's so much noise out there in the reseller sphere. Ooh, that's a word.
Oh.
Just made that a word.
Quick, copyright it so nobody makes a shirt.
There's so much noise out there that it can be hard to figure out what's real, what's not real, what you should take notice of and what you shouldn't. And I learned this past year that some of the groups that I was part of, I was not really getting much out of them. They devolved into chaos sometimes. They devolved into petty fights and arguments between members or with members of other groups. And so I kind of retreated from pretty much all of them other than ours and the Green Room, which I'm a member of. And because I found value in those, just the way they were structured and set up, the way they were ran by their admins. And that's not to say that you can't get value from other reselling groups. You can, don't get me wrong. But in terms of making really great connections, it can be challenging because it can be hard. You've got to wade through so much nonsense to get to somebody who is really, interested in connecting and building their business. It's just difficult. And
when you find it, grab it and hold on to it and cherish it and cultivate it and don't let go. It's because I think they're few and far between. But when you find a place where you fit and it makes sense and it's positive and it's uplifting and it's pushing you towards your goals, towards the direction that you want to go, then hold on, just cherish it. Hold on to it.
Yeah. And tied right into that idea is number 6. Reselling is lonely until it isn't. So a lot of people who are resellers complain that one of the toughest things they struggle with is the loneliness factor. Their family or friends don't really understand what they're doing. They don't connect to them because they don't view it as a regular business or a normal job, what have you. And it can be very lonely. And that's why you have to make these connections through meetups, through groups, through YouTube,
through this chat,
platforms like this, or it will feel really lonely, but it doesn't have to be.
And it doesn't have to be. And it's really easy to make a connection. I mean, sometimes it'll cost you as little as a couple minutes on Facebook Instant Messenger or a stamp to send somebody a card, whether it be Get Well or Christmas. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. And, we know that there are folks out there that are struggling with their own families. And because of lack of support in your own home, you're feeling more alone or more unsupported. And I tell you, there is a whole community here of people in this chat right now. I mean, look at all of our friends that are here.
Yeah.
A couple of which I've met outside of even meetups. Like when you said this, that reselling is lonely until it isn't. I mean, try this. You know, the next time you're in Florida visiting your grandma, why don't you just, you know, put it out into the universe? Hey, I'm going to be in Tallahassee. Anybody nearby? And poof, you have an opportunity, one, to turn it into a business trip, but two, reach out and expand your community, expand your base, and learn from other people. Like, I can't tell you how many times, you know, we've met up with people in their backyard and done it their way. You know, I got to see Lauren and go thrifting with her, and that was so cool.
Right.
Again, learn something, nuggets, everything. So it doesn't have to be as lonely because we have the internet and we have each other and we have this ability to reach out. So
Flipper Joe says we should start a reseller dating site, which I was just thinking about that. Instead of it's just coffee, it's like it's just thrifting. You meet at the thrift store for like 7 minutes, and then you meet someone else over, you know, like on the hard good aisle, and then over here you meet somebody at the suiting or the shoes, and then you just spend 7 minutes talking to them about their business and business model. Decide if you want to connect or not.
You decide if you want to connect based on their, you know, ROI potential stuff. Like,
oh man!
Hey Joe, you decide if you want to date them based on their flippability. That's my word, and I'm sticking to it.
Number 7, we're on efficiencies. I like alliterations.
Yeah, the original version of that was making efficiencies more efficient by being efficient. Just wasn't efficient use of words and syllables, was it?
A redundancy.
No.
So
what did we learn?
Efficiencies. One thing we learned about this year is that we learned better ways to take photos. We learned more efficient ways to list things. We learn more efficient ways to source things.
Yeah, I was going to say that's important.
And I would dare say all of you have some things that you could learn better in those areas and other areas this coming year, as well as what you learned this year, because that's going to make your job, that's going to make your business go quicker. Like, you're just going to have more time to do things when you're efficient in the way, maybe it's just being efficient the way your work area is set up. Like, if you've got a super messy, cluttered, disorganized work area, I'm going to guess there's no way you're as efficient as you could be. Even if you've got pretty good results, I think you could have better results if you took some time to organize that and structure it in a way that made sense instead of just having stuff haphazardly all over the time. Because you're losing time every time you have to go to find something, or it's not where you thought it was, you're having to move something, just all these little things. I mean, you imagine if you went into a surgery room and there was like, the surgeon had the scalpel and the tissues and the sponges all just laying in a big clump of stuff in the corner. There's no way you let that person do surgery on you. So there's an efficiency you can always have. You can always become more efficient in your business, and it's going to help your results overall. Plus, it's going to help save time, which is always a big thing for us.
Yeah, and you can find efficiencies in staffing with each other, supplies, space, inventory, everything. Like, we even become more efficient when we source now, like on the way home from Virginia. The three of us, Ben and Jason and I, sort of divide and conquer. You know, he'll go do jeans, Ben will go do what Ben does, and I'll go and start immediately on shoes. And then we pretty much wrap it up a lot quicker than if everybody kind of hovers here or hovers there. We have purpose, and that is an efficient use of our new efficiencies.
Agreed. Number 8. 8 is great. You need to become a journalist. We needed to become, when Kaaren was asking for ideas for this video and we were talking about it, I realized
I've been asking for a while now.
I realized I did not have a journal of my daily business and what's gone on in my business. And that's a mistake, because a journal gives you an ability to look back. It gives you the ability to put your ideas down on paper or digitally on a screen, whatever floats your boat, doesn't matter. And it gives you a way to track your progress and where you've come from and where you're likely to go. It gives you a path that you've taken, and you can't know that. Like, there's things that you're going to do in January that could help you maybe in June that you'll forget if you don't have some way to record things down. It could be all kinds of things. It could just be a daily log. It could be milestones you've reached. It could be a path that you think you want to go down. But we we need to become journalists because we forget things.
Yeah, it's a nice recap. I mean, it's not enough, you know, to have the spreadsheet. And Jason can surely tell you that, you know, the sales line went like this or like this or like this. Oh, you can't see. Anyway, up, down, all around, whatever. But I mean, it's something as simple as when we travel. Like I got a note earlier, somebody asked a question about a particular Goodwill we went to in Winston-Salem or something.
Yeah.
And we used to be a lot better about that.
We
would take notes about certain spots or certain trips or certain ideas, and you have your Trello now and you've been using that for a while. So it became difficult for you in particular to make this what we learned because we really didn't keep very much track. I mean, the numbers are one thing, but you're also learning experience, method, manner. What to do is just as valuable a lesson as what not to do.
Right.
And sometimes you're right. We need to be reminded of that. It's not, and you and Ben talked about it so well when you use the analogy about, you know, you can't spend all of your time looking in the rearview mirror. You're going to miss something right straight ahead of you, right? So It's just a good reminder. It's a good reinforcement to moving you forward. Number 9. Well, it's 6. What the heck is
number
6?
9.
All right. Yeah. Well, failing to plan is planning to fail. This from Miss Proactive herself. Why do you think that one's on the list?
Failing to plan is planning to fail. Well, because if you don't plan anything in your business, let's say it's just you get up on Monday and you come downstairs, you fire up the computer, and you got 5 emails on eBay from 5 different buyers. You got a return there. You've got so-and-so's message you on Facebook. Somebody posted an Instagram video you want to watch. And all of a sudden, 2 hours has gone by and nothing real has gotten done. And that's because you're living in a state of reactivity where you're just reacting to everything that happens right in front of you. And that's a horrible place to be in because it makes it very difficult to move forward because you're always having to wait for something to happen before you can move forward. Mm-hmm. And sometimes what happens is not really anything you need to even give any time to. So without some sort of plan for how you're going to structure your day, your week, your month, how you're going to structure your business, how you're going to handle all the various things that come up in running these businesses and so on, you are basically planning to fail if you don't come up with some sort of plan around how to organize all that, because it will just become this never-ending stream of attention wasters, grabbers that grab onto you. And that's not even talking about the things that don't have anything to do with your business that can grab your attention as well.
Right.
I mean, that's just the things that are in your business.
And it's not enough to make a list that says, okay, on Wednesday, we're going to do a show about the things we learned in 2017. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to mean it. So you're also going to have to put in some proactive time to make those plans happen. Like that's the whole point. You don't just, speaking it starts to give it life, but then you have to water it, give it some, you have to give it more than that. It's not enough to just say it. You have to look, you have to always be, I think you constantly have to be in a state of looking backwards, forwards, and in the moment a little bit, all at the same time. Like I get it. It's all about being in this moment, but the past, present, and future all have an impact on each other.
Right.
So
right.
if you, and I guess it goes back to balance, but you have to be able to sort of conquer all of them at the same time. Oh, number 10.
Number 10.
Everyone's a teacher, but not everybody's a student. What on earth does that mean, Prof?
Everyone's a teacher, but not everyone's a student.
The original version was a little less polished than that.
Why do I say that? Well, you can learn something from everyone. Even people even resellers or YouTubers or whoever you're watching or following, even people that you don't like their business model, you don't like how they act themselves, you can learn something from that. Like, hey, that's not what I want to do. But not everybody approaches it that way. People who I found in this reselling community who want to pass themselves off as teachers, but never seem to want to learn anything. They think they've learned it all. And that's not the hallmark of a good teacher. A good teacher is a great student because they always are learning and trying to figure out, bigger and better ways to do things, more efficient, more effective. But not everyone who, you know, holds themselves up to be that teacher is going to be that great of a teacher, only simply because they're not a student. And to be a teacher, you have to be a student as well. They go hand in hand. I've always had a love of learning my whole life. I've never felt like I've mastered anything, really. I don't feel like I've mastered anything. And I don't think I ever will. And I think that's kind of the attitude you have to bring to it. Excuse me.
And I find myself, you know, we're talking about doing many things new and differently in 2018. And I find myself being a little resistant to some of the new ideas, just to be honest. So a challenge for me is going to be to sort of embrace some of those new opportunities a lot more openly than I am right now.
And embracing something new is difficult because it usually means, you know, rethinking your preconceived notions, doing things a different way. You've never done it before. It can feel very uncomfortable. It will be uncomfortable for sure. I mean, that's kind of the definition of it, but that's okay. There's some value in feeling uncomfortable.
I struggle with change. 11, time is a choice we get to make every day. You should have read that one because that was a big one for you.
Yeah, time's a choice we get to make every day. We've talked a lot about time on this channel in 2017. And when we were putting this list together, I thought, what am I going to say specifically based around time? And there's so many things that I could say. But I realized that it just all kept coming back to choices. You make a choice every day, every hour, every minute, every second of what you spend your time doing. That time is going to pass no matter what. And in 2017, there were plenty of times that, you know, we spent time doing things that did not further our goals. And you have to think to yourself, there's a cost of that. There's a cost. There's a cost to spending your time doing things that aren't pushing you forward. I would argue nothing's neutral. If it's not pushing you forward, it's pushing you backwards. And we're going to try to be a lot more cognizant of that this year. It's impossible to be effective every single moment. Nobody can do that. But I think we could have done a much better job about how we spent our time at certain parts of the year, certain times, certain parts of the day.
Certain parts of the day, for sure. Agreed.
And, you know, it's a choice, guys. It's a choice in if you want to use it, you know, effectively or not. Totally up to you. The time is going to pass whether you use it effectively or not. So you get to make the decision. All right. What are we on?
I don't know. 12. That's you.
12. We're getting down to it. Process trumps results. Why do I say that? Because results don't matter. I mean, they do matter, but they don't matter because you don't really control everything about your results. You control your process, you control your effort, you control how you spend your time, but you don't completely control your results. You own them, but you don't control them. There's a difference. And if you're always focusing on a better process, a more effective process, a more efficient process, a process that uses the least energy to get the most results in the shortest amount of time, results will come. They'll come. They might not come in the time frame you think, but they will come. So focus on the process and not so much on the results. You'll be happier too, because you're going to realize the results are not in your control, but the process is. You can end each day saying, I did these 3 things today and they helped further my goals.
Well, and don't think that you're married to any one process, procedure, or other. And that's something that really doesn't fit, or it's not a line item here, but it did come up earlier in the chat. And whoever said it, you're absolutely right. Just because something doesn't work or is working a certain way, and you've planned it and thought about it, and doesn't mean you can't change it. So your process is always in flux. It's always should be made to be flexible, not inflexible, right? Because your process is how you're going to get there, and it needs to be tweakable.
Number 13, lucky number 13.
Without a why, the what and the how just don't matter.
Why are you doing it?
Why?
Why do anything? If you can't figure that out, if you can't nail that down succinctly in a sentence or two, you need to really rethink why you're even involved.
And we're going to challenge you. It's not like you're not doing this reselling game to make more money. Like, we need to get past that. Your why is not the money.
You can make money doing lots of things.
Right. The money is a result. Why do you want the money? Like, what's driving you? What's motivating you to do the things, buy the things, sell the thingies, grab all the thingies, whatever. That's your true why. And once you focus on that, the how and the what and the how, they don't matter so much. All that other stuff falls into place behind your why.
Purpose will drive your tactics and so on, but you have to have a purpose that makes sense. Number 14, 2 together equals more than 1 + 1 separately. So the sum of the parts, the sum of the parts is greater.
What on earth does that even mean? I just swallowed my cough drop.
You okay?
Yeah, just explain. I'll be over here choking.
Okay. So while Kaaren chokes, I'm just going to say that having Kaaren as a partner in this with me, we were just talking about this earlier today, has been such a blessing. And we were able to get much more done together than we could have separately. We found that as in the back part of the year, as we sort of switched into this mode where we started doing some things on our own, both of our productivity fell off.
Sure.
My productivity fell off in what I was doing. Her productivity fell off in what she was doing. So it's kind of interesting. So maybe we need to rethink that for 2018. But if you have a partner, if you have someone who's doing this with you or helping you in some way, value that and find ways to increase that, because I think that 2 is not like 2x1. It's like 2.5x1 or maybe even 3x1. It's much stronger for lots of reasons. And I guess it's just, you have a partner, you feel like not everything falls on you. You can really go at things a little bit harder because there's somebody else there who can do some things if you don't quite nail it all down. Think about it.
Well, and if that's the lesson that we learned, if 2 together is better, then we're going to have to incorporate ways to do 2 better together in 2018, because clearly the going your way and going my way is not working.
Yeah, agreed. Number 15. Wow, we're almost near the end.
And I'm going to say it, but you explain it, because this has been one that's really surfaced a great deal the last couple of weeks. And that's the thought that they are milestones, not goals. It started sort of eking in with something that you read about, and you did a show on it about how we set goals, but they're not really measurable goals. They're more like milestones. So what did you learn about that? Why the differentiation, Prof?
Oops, sorry, I hit the tail. Yeah, one of my favorite exercise quotes was when they asked, and I've said this before, they asked Muhammad Ali how many sit-ups he did every day. And he said, I don't keep counting. He said, I don't start counting until they start hurting, because that's when it starts to improve. So he didn't know how many he did. And the value in that message is that you will get results and you'll reach these milestones, but they're very arbitrary, guys. Like, Ben and I talked about this the other day. When you set a sales goal for yourself, why not set it 2 times as great or 10 times as great? Because you think you can't reach it. So you're already defeating yourself before you even get started. If that's your mindset, you've already set this artificial limit. Why set a limit at all? Just say that, I'm gonna record my milestones. I'm gonna look back on them fondly. When I reach $1,000 in sales, $10,000 in sales, oh great, I reached that milestone. That was awesome. I got 10,000 subscribers or 500 subscribers or whatever your total is. Great. It's a great milestone. There's nothing wrong with reflecting back on milestones, but that's all they really are, because they're there and they're gone and you're on to the next thing. Like, all there is right now and the immediate future. The past is the past. There's no reason to dwell on it.
Number 16. You say it.
The goal is growth. Enough said.
Mic dropped.
Oh, I thought you were going to do something else. It says enough said. Come on, rookie.
I know.
Read the cue sheet.
When you said that one this morning, you were like, psh, that's it. Enough said.
This goes right back in with the milestones point from number 15, guys. The goal is growth. I am not going to put specific targets on things this year because I just want to grow. I'm going to have what I started at, my milestone, and I'll have some milestone down the road. You know, I'll see milestones come and go. And at the end of the year, I can reflect back. I'm going to reflect back on the actual numbers, but I'm going to focus on the things that will actually allow me to grow. And that's it, because that's your only goal. That's the only thing you can really control. You don't know what milestones you'll reach, what numbers you'll reach, what metrics, and you don't know how high you can reach. But
so sometimes those numbers, they can also be, I think, unmotivating, because if you make some number like I want to make $10,000 this month, and it just and you don't reach the goal in January, and then you don't reach it, and then you keep getting that further and further away from it. You know, why even bother setting it 10,000? Make it $1 million for January, right? They should be milestones, and make many of them. But here's my twist on that. Celebrate them, whatever it is. And, you know, for some people, we can joke about this, but it's not very funny. You know, for some people, getting up, getting dressed, and getting out of the bed is an accomplishment, right? Like that, like that becomes debilitating for some people. The fear of whatever, you know, whether it's going out and sourcing and feeling like you're not going to be successful, self-defeating. Not getting up and getting on the computer, logging in and listing because your things will never sell anyway, self-defeating. I mean, and I can go on, but you just have to make these milestones, and don't call them goals. Let's call them accomplishments. I loved that. Whoever brought that up the other day, it was brilliant, because in making them goals, somehow we tell ourselves that somehow we're less if we don't meet them. And I just think that's self-defeating.
Yeah, and Luke was in the chat earlier from Endless Entrepreneurs. I was watching his video on his year end, actually earlier today. And, you know, he'd set a pretty lofty goal of a milestone of reaching 100K in sales this year on eBay. And he fell well short of it. But what's interesting was, and he identified it in 2 seconds flat, is that he increased his profitability. He got in a job that he really wanted to be in. He started his real estate investing by selling the home, or using the home they have now to lease out to someone and purchasing another home. He had a hugely successful year. But if you would have just looked at his sales goal and what he did in sales, you'd say he failed. But he didn't. He succeeded way beyond what he could have dreamed, mainly because he went after those other milestones that weren't so tangible as to like a specific number, and he still did really well. You know, I think he made more net profit than he had been making too. So he had huge growth, even though he didn't meet the quote unquote arbitrary number he'd set at the beginning of the year. And that's a success. That is absolutely success. And that's what we're talking about. Growth, 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 growth. That is the key word for this year.
Yep. And, you know, I can make lemonade just out of just about anything. But you're absolutely right. Like whatever it is, every lesson that you learn is a step in the right direction. It might feel like a step backwards in the moment, but it's still, you're learning, you're growing. And, you know, if you need to be reminded of that, hit me up. I will be happy to remind you as often as possible.
Are we at the end?
No, there's one more. So
number 17.
So
well, that's the
close.
end.
Yes. This is, get ready for like everybody to have something to say about this one. What is the number 17, but number one thing we learned this year? You say it.
We know nothing.
Nope, not a thing.
Maybe we should just quit right there.
All right, now we drop the mic and we move on, right?
Maybe we should explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I think we should, because, you know, peanut gallery being the peanut gallery.
The real growth does not happen with your sales. It doesn't happen with your number of subscribers. It doesn't happen with the niches you now sell in or how many items you listed today. The real growth is up here. It's in your head, and it's in your every fiber of your being. And if you start from a position of you are a blank slate every day you get up, you think, I am open to new things today, new methods, new ways of doing it, going in a different direction if I have to, learning something new, you will always have a tremendous mentality around your business. You'll always be focused on growth. But when you wake up with the mentality of, I know everything, there's nothing more for me to learn, it gets very depressing and sad very, very quickly. And here's the reality. You don't know everything. Nobody ever does, as we said earlier. So start with the presumption you know nothing. because then you're always a blank slate and you can always learn something. And truly, truly brilliant people that have lived throughout the history of humanity realized there's always so much more to learn. They were true. It goes back to being a student and not just a teacher. You have to be a student of so many different things. So start with a mindset of knowing nothing. And by the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month, maybe you'll know something. And then you'll start all over again. We know nothing.
Yeah. So if you'd like to learn more nothing with us and enjoy the journey, consider subscribing. Click that like button, mateys. And it's a new year, so there'll be new accents and new impressions. So, you know, keep those suggestions coming.
I haven't even heard these, so this should be great.
Yeah. I haven't either. I have no idea yet, but there you go.
All right, guys, we are going to rest our voices. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll be back on Monday, won't we?
We will, and we're going to be talking all about what happens next year. Like
we'll see you in a next.
Yes,
we'll
see you next year. Yeah. This is Just Ask Kaaren
and Prof Sales
saying good sales to you.